The company you keep shapes your destiny, and no truth is more vital in this life. Who you walk with will determine the direction of your journey. You cannot soar with eagles if you surround yourself with those who crawl in the dust. The voices you listen to, the people you align with, these are the forces that shape your character, your faith, and your future. There is a reason Scripture warns us, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. You may have the best intentions, the strongest convictions, but if you are constantly in the presence of those who pull you away from God's truth, their influence will leave its mark on you. It happens slowly, subtly, like a small leak in a ship that eventually sinks it. The people in your life either push you toward your purpose or pull you away from it. This is why trusting God completely is not an option, it is a necessity. When you allow Him to lead, He will not only direct your steps, but also your associations. He knows the motives of every heart. He sees beyond smiles and empty words. Where you see companionship, He sees the hidden intentions. Where you see loyalty, He sees deception. If you walk in His wisdom, He will remove those who are meant to leave and bring those who are meant to stay. Trusting God means surrendering the fear of letting go. Some relationships are comfortable but not healthy. Some people have walked with you for years, but they are not meant to walk with you forever. If God calls you to distance yourself, it is not to punish you, but to protect you. There are friendships that were good for a season, but are dangerous for your future. When He removes someone from your life, do not chase after them. What He takes away, He replaces with something greater. God will always bring the right people into your life at the right time. He will surround you with those who uplift you, speak truth, and remind you of His promises. But you must be willing to trust Him, even when the process is painful. The greatest blessings often come after the hardest separations. Let Him guide your relationships. Do not hold on to what He is asking you to release. Do not fear solitude, for even in isolation, He is preparing you. He is molding you, strengthening you, and aligning you with those who will walk with you toward your destiny. You are not called to blend in with the crowd, but to stand apart. You are not meant to be influenced by the world, but to be a light within it. Choose your company wisely, and above all, trust God completely. He will never lead you astray. He will place you exactly where you need to be with the right people in the right season for the right purpose. Walk in that trust and watch Him shape your destiny. There are few trials more difficult than facing toxicity within your own family. The people who should love you most, the ones meant to nurture and protect you, can sometimes be the very ones who hurt you the deepest. When the people closest to you cause pain, it is not just a challenge, it is a test of your strength, your faith, and your ability to trust God completely. Family is meant to be a source of love and support, but not every family functions the way God intended. Some bring constant criticism instead of encouragement. Some manipulate instead of love. Some tear down rather than build up. When you are caught in the storm of a toxic family, it can feel impossible to find peace. You may feel trapped by guilt, bound by obligation, or burdened by the weight of expectations that were never yours to carry. But even in the middle of this battle, you are not alone. God sees what you are going through. He knows the wounds inflicted by careless words and selfish actions. He understands the betrayal, the exhaustion, and the deep desire for healing. And He has not abandoned you. He is using this trial to strengthen you, to refine you, to draw you closer to Him. Trusting God completely means surrendering your pain to Him. It means releasing the need to fix things on your own. You cannot change people who refuse to change. You cannot make someone love you the right way if their heart is hardened. But you can choose to trust the one who holds your future. You can choose to walk in wisdom, knowing that love does not mean enduring abuse. Forgiveness does not mean tolerating toxic behavior. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step away. God does not call you to live in constant turmoil. He calls you to peace. There is strength in setting boundaries. There is courage in choosing your well-being. There is wisdom in walking away when staying means losing yourself. Trusting God means believing that He will provide what you need even when stepping away feels uncertain. No pain is wasted in His hands. He will use every tear, every sleepless night, every broken piece of your heart to shape you into the person He has called you to be. He will turn your suffering into wisdom, your wounds into testimony, your trials into triumph. But you must trust Him. You must believe that His plan for you is greater than the pain of your past. Let go of what is holding you back. Release the bitterness, the anger, and the need for validation from those who will never give it. Trust that God is leading you towards something greater. When you put your faith in Him, He will heal what was broken, restore what was lost, and bring you into the peace you have been longing for. Stay strong, trust Him, and watch Him work. Suffering is a reality in this world, but it is not your destiny. You are not bound to pain, to sorrow, or to the weight of a past that tries to define you. Too many people live as if they are chained to their struggles, believing that hardship is simply their lot in life. But hear this truth. God has not called you to live in perpetual suffering. He has called you to freedom, to healing, to joy beyond measure. There are moments when life feels unbearable, when the burdens seem too heavy to carry. You may have been hurt by those you trusted, disappointed by those you loved, or faced trials that left you broken. But suffering is not your final chapter. The pain you have endured is not where your story ends. God's plans for you are greater than the wounds of your past. He sees what you have been through, and He is working even now to bring restoration. Trusting God completely means believing that He has a purpose beyond your suffering. It means knowing that He is not the author of your pain, but the healer of it. The enemy wants you to believe that your struggles define you, that your wounds will never heal, that you will always be trapped in sorrow. But God says otherwise. He says you are more than a conqueror. He says He has plans to give you hope and a future. He says He will turn your mourning into dancing, your tears into joy. Too often, people hold on to their suffering because it is familiar. They stay in toxic relationships, unhealthy environments, and destructive cycles because they fear what will happen if they let go. But trusting God means stepping into the unknown, believing that what He has for you is far greater than what you leave behind. It means surrendering the pain, the fear, and the doubt, knowing that He will provide exactly what you need in His perfect timing. Your trials are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to strengthen you. Every storm you have faced has prepared you for the blessings ahead. Every tear you have shed has watered the seeds of your future. When you trust God completely, you begin to see that even in the darkest moments, He is at work. He is shaping you, refining you, and drawing you closer to Him. Do not accept suffering as your identity. You are not a victim of your past. You are a child of God, redeemed and set free. Let go of the belief that pain is your portion. Step into the truth that His grace is sufficient, His love is unfailing, and His promises are true. Walk forward in faith, knowing that God is leading you into a life of peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Trust Him, and you will see that you were never meant to stay in suffering. You were meant to rise above it. 1/2. Love is a beautiful gift, but it was never meant to be a prison. Too many people live bound by a version of love that is controlling, manipulative, and full of conditions. They endure toxic relationships because they believe love means sacrificing their own peace. But hear this truth: real love does not bind, it sets free. Love that comes from God is not a chain that holds you in pain. It is a force that lifts you into healing and wholeness. The world often distorts love, making it something that demands more than it gives. Some people say they love you, but what they truly want is control. They use guilt, fear, or obligation to keep you tied to them, making you believe that walking away is wrong. But love is not meant to suffocate. It is meant to breathe life into you. When God is at the center, love brings freedom, not bondage. Trusting God completely means believing that He will guide your heart to relationships that honor him. It means surrendering unhealthy attachments and letting go of love that drains rather than uplifts. God does not ask you to stay in a place where you are emotionally, mentally, or spiritually suffocated. He desires for you to experience love in its purest form, love that reflects his own. God's love is never selfish, never forceful, never manipulative. It is patient, kind, and selfless. It does not demand that you lose yourself to please someone else. It does not require you to suffer endlessly for the sake of keeping peace. True love strengthens your spirit, encourages your faith, and brings you closer to God, not farther from him. Some relationships feel impossible to walk away from because of history, loyalty, or fear of the unknown. But trusting God means believing that he will never ask you to give up something without having something greater in store. When you let go of love that keeps you bound, you make room for the love that will set you free. It may not happen immediately, and the transition may be painful, but freedom is always worth the cost. God is not the author of confusion, fear, or control. He does not call you to love that constantly makes you question your worth. His love is abundant, overflowing, and complete. When you trust him, he will surround you with people who love you the way he does, genuinely, selflessly, and without chains. If you find yourself trapped in a love that feels more like bondage, it is time to surrender it to God. Trust him to heal, restore, and lead you to something better. His plans for you are greater than any broken relationship. His love is the foundation of all true love. And when you walk in that truth, you will find peace, joy, and the freedom your heart has been longing for. Trust him completely, and he will show you what love was always meant to be. Life is filled with challenges, trials, and conflicts that threaten to steal your peace. The world will throw distractions, trials, and conflicts that threaten to steal your path, who try to pull you down. But you were not created to live in constant turmoil. You were not meant to be weighed down by the burdens of this world. God has called you to rise above, to walk in peace, no matter what storms rage around you. The ability to rise above does not come from human strength. It comes from trusting God completely. When you put your faith in him, you no longer have to be controlled by fear, anxiety, or the negativity of others. You do not have to respond to every insult, engage in every argument, or carry the weight of other people's expectations. You can choose peace, knowing that God fights your battles. Peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of God in the midst of it. Too often, people believe that peace will come when their circumstances change, when the problems disappear, when the difficult people leave, when life finally becomes easy. But true peace is not dependent on what is happening around you. It is rooted in knowing that God is in control, that he is working all things together for your good, even when you cannot see it. Trusting God completely means surrendering the need to fix everything yourself. It means letting go of the urge to prove yourself to people who will never see your worth. It means choosing joy when bitterness tries to take root, choosing forgiveness when resentment seems easier, choosing faith when doubt creeps in. The world may tell you that peace comes through success, validation, or control, but real peace only comes through surrender, through placing everything in God's hands and resting in his promises. There will always be voices trying to distract you, always situations that seek to disturb your spirit, but you do not have to engage in every battle. You do not have to carry every burden. God is your defender, your protector, your provider. When you trust him fully, you walk differently. You speak differently. You live with a confidence that does not come from your circumstances, but from your Creator. Some people will misunderstand your peace. They will question why you do not react with anger, why you are not consumed by worry, why you seem unshaken. But that is what happens when you trust God completely. You are no longer bound by the chaos of the world because your heart is anchored in something greater. No matter what is happening around you, choose to rise above. Refuse to be pulled into unnecessary battles. Let go of what is out of your control. Trust that God is leading you, guiding you, and providing for you. Walk in peace, knowing that His plans for you are good, His love for you is endless, and His presence will never leave you.